But for more on the women's bracket, let's talk to a couple players involved with the defending champs. How about that? And there's a lot of championships on this panel. Sorry, here it comes.
I feel inadequate.
Yes, you should. You should. Carli Lloyd and Krieger joining us here on Fútbol Americas. Guys, so great to have you with us. Let me start with this, because I'm assuming that the recruiting pitch was done by Ali. So, Carli, what is the recruiting pitch when Krieger calls you? And are you straight away all in, or did you have to think about it?
Well, I was planning to play last year, but then I had some news that I was pregnant. So the pregnancy did not allow me to play, but I got to watch the amazing group go out there. I must say, it looked a lot harder than what I had imagined. And Allie, we just talked about her just being kind of fresh off retirement, and it was still hard for her. So I'm a little nervous. I've been running and training, but it was an easy pitch. I mean, to be reunited with Allie and Heyo and, so many other players that I played with, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
All right, Allie, what can Carli expect? You've been there, you've done this, you've experienced this tournament in its grandest scheme. What can she expect?
It's actually difficult to explain because it doesn't feel like football, how it's 11v11. It's, obviously a different structure, different tactics. You have to you have to really study the strategy. And it's kind of a Christmas tree shape, which is not really familiar when we're out playing 11v11 and all the games and tournaments we've played in. So it's a different approach, but I think we can handle it. I think we've been thrown into pressure situations consistently, so we thrive under that. But she's just gonna have fun. I think she could just sit and organize in the middle of the park, and we'll do all the rest. But I definitely wanted her to still play last year. I know she was ready to pop, but we were all itching for her to get back, and it's just going to be such a joy also to play with Heyo and Carli and just suit back up next to them and throw on our U.S. jersey again and just have some fun.
Yeah, I'm interested about that from your perspective, Carli. Obviously the soccer reunion is cool and you get to play together again, but I'm really thinking about what happens afterwards and before, just kind of being in a hotel, being back in that environment with players that you played with on the national team. What do you expect from Cary, North Carolina? Because I think that, to me, is the most exciting thing, just seeing you guys all back together on a television screen.
Yeah, and I think, when you're in it and you're playing, not to say that we didn't all enjoy each other's company and enjoy the moments, but I think it's really hard because everybody's kind of navigating their own journeys and you're trying to survive. And the women's national team has been just such a cutthroat environment, and everybody has to do what they need to do in order to survive and thrive and play at their best. So I look at this tournament as sort of the post-retirement prize that we can now kind of enjoy the moment more. We can laugh, we can have fun. There's pressure, but there's not all the pressure in the world. And for me, it's just an opportunity to really kind of just soak everything in, because it's hard to when you're in it and you're in the thick of it of your career. So I'm just excited. Very rarely do we ever all kind of get into the same room, let alone the same field, different generations of players and all of that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we're all, in different places in our lives. Allie's got her kids. I've now got our daughter Harper, who's going to be joining us alongside of my dad being the Manny, as my husband can't attend. So I'm just excited to kind of be immersed with everybody's families and friends.
Allie, I'm thinking back to last year's roster, and obviously the star power here, it's the veterans, no doubt about it. But you guys got a real big boost from some of the younger players, some North Carolina locals. How key were they to you guys winning it all last year? And take us back to that moment, that feeling when that ball goes in and you get that $1 million prize. And I think, was it Heyo was stroking the checks afterwards for
yeah,
was it 46 or something?
Right.
I mean, you guys were literally handing out the dough right there on the spot. That must have just been amazing.
Yeah, to get the check with 40 grand written on it, I said, thank you very much. And now it's time to celebrate. But no, you're absolutely right. The younger players, and I think we have 4 from UNC who are joining our squad this year. And thank goodness for them, because they, I'm like, all right, can I get a sub? Can I rotate out? It's going to be flying changes for all us veteran and older experienced players. And then for them, they can kind of run around and they make it look easy. But yes, when I think it was Tessa who scored the or no, not Tessa. One of the younger kids. I don't know if she's going to be on the team this year, but had scored that final goal, and it just it brought me back to that age and that excitement of playing with older players who they've looked up to. I think just having that mix was really healthy, and I think it made them play a little bit more motivated and than usual. So I think this will be such a great experience for a lot of the younger girls, and also for us to kind of take a break and chill out on the sideline for a second to catch our breath. But they are all excellent. They are ready, and they are excited to join forces again and hopefully come out with a win.
There were 8 teams last year. There's 16 teams this year. The level of play last year was excellent. I assume it'll carry on this season or this year. The one common denominator you guys have, ex-World Cup winners, is how competitive you are. Carli, you've not played in a while. How competitive do you think this is going to get, and how much of yourself is still in that competitive nature, if you can say that?
Herc hasn't done anything physical or athletic since he retired.
That's why
he's projecting here a little bit.
Carli and I are the same age, and she's back out there playing. I'm sitting here like, why? Why?
I don't know. This may be the last time I play. We'll see how it goes. But no, I mean, I think for starters, it's obviously it's a tough tournament. I think the first game, everybody was kind of trying to get their feet wet and try to figure out tactically how we're supposed to play, and then we really figured it out towards the end. And I was observing from the sideline and trying to figure it all out. And I think we're all competitive, right? I'm playing on an indoor co-ed league team right now. I just had a game last night. I'm playing it cool. I'm not trying to get injured. I'm not trying to go crazy. But I think once I step out onto the fields with our team, those competitive juices are going to flow. And, I'm savoring it for that moment. But I think, things are a little different, but we all still have that in us, and once we roll up the sleeves and get going, it's we're going to be out to win this tournament again.
Carli, real quick, how many goals did you score in the indoor game last night?
I had quite a few chances. I must say my shooting was not up to par. I did score one. It was kind of a tap in, but the other few opportunities were not up to my standards. So I've got to be better. But it's hilarious just kind of rocking up into this league. And
I can only imagine the reaction. I can only imagine the reaction from the people on the other team saying, "Nah, she dropped a hat trick. She dropped a hat trick in a final. She can't be playing in our joke league. Come on."
Hey, Ali, it's $1 million. You've played and won for $1 million. What kind of spice does that add? What element of spice does that add to the competition?
Yeah, a lot of spice. I feel like it's more than we've won in the past at any other big tournament, to be honest. So there's a lot of spice there. There's excitement. And I think that's just the cherry on top, right? I think, like what Carli said, we are addicted to winning. We love the competition. We love to put on this jersey and represent, what we've represented all these years, friends, family, but more importantly, our teammates and country. And I think that's just a special part of it all, and to join forces again and team up with some of the best players I've ever played with. I think it's just going to be really fun. Just like Carli had mentioned, we're going to laugh, we're going to joke around, but ultimately there's always that competitive fire that we have in our back pocket that will definitely come out to play when the time comes.
All right, so Carli claims she only scored 1 goal in her indoor game last night, but I think I might know why.
Why?
I wasn't calling the indoor game. Now, I have called some U.S. Women's National Team Carli Lloyd games in the past, ones where she scored a lot of goals. I think we've got a quick flashback here.
Hugh Weldon ball. Carli Lloyd! Carli Lloyd! Carli Lloyd!
This is about a few years ago.
Done across Lavelle.
This is like a 4-goal first half, is that right?
Carli Lloyd putting on a show.
Okay, Paraguay. I remember that.
So Herc and I called the final last year. I haven't gotten the assignment yet, but there's a decent chance we get to call the final this year. I'm not saying, Carli, but I'm just saying, hopefully you give us some goals to call, yeah?
A lot of expectations here. I've been out of the game for
Oh,
quite.
come on, no excuses here.
I haven't been training a whole lot. I got things. Priorities have changed. I got a daughter, but I'm going to certainly do my best. That's for sure.
All right, I think that's not our only flashback. We've got something for Allie as well, yes?
No.
Oh gosh, my one goal.
No, this is not your goal. I think this is an old U.S. soccer video of a rehab stint. Let me ask, was this
Oh
more
my
painful,
gosh.
or was getting in shape last summer more painful for TST?
Getting in shape last summer for TST
Is
was
that
definitely
Alexi
more
Lawless
painful.
coaching you right there?
Look at these throwbacks.
No.
Talk about
I
painful.
know. That was my ACL return to play.
There's no way that training for this tournament was more difficult than the ACL. For sure, the ACL.
This looks like what I'm training right now
Right.
for
Right
TST.
here.
Yeah. This
Allie
is
was
the
a beast.
exact.
Look at that
so
baby
funny.
Ali Krieger.
Yes.
Look at my eyeliner. Whoa.
Wow, strong. Yes, well played.
She'll be bringing that. She'll
All
be
right,
bringing
so
that.
I think I got one more note here. There's an event June 7th, right, before the tournament, or before you guys get started, right? A meet and greet with a bunch of y'all and the fans. Carli, you looking forward to this?
Oh yeah, I mean, look at this stellar group before here. I mean, you got the one and only Michelle Akers, legend. Yeah, I mean, it's just, look, I keep saying it. Credit to Heather Riley for just really putting this together and being diligent, and everybody for doing this. TST. I mean, it's just such a cool tournament, and the fans love it, and I'm really excited to be part of it this year and play.
All right, there they are. Ali Krieger, Carli Lloyd, part of the U.S. women's team we will see later this year at TST down in Cary, North Carolina. Ladies, so good to have you with us here on Fútbol Americas. Thanks for the time.
Best of luck.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.